So I thought I would actually get into talking a bit about a little controversy that just I just stumbled upon. So apparently there's a lot of hate against the movie The Batman. And I thought, you know, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I agree with the hate. Anybody who has a critical disdain for that movie, I agree with. But do I hate the movie? No. I mean, this is not one of those things where we analyze it and go, oh, everybody has their own opinion. No, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to break down what their hate is, and I'm going to tell you why it's legit, why it's understandable. So, a lot of people, for one, say it's too slow. You know what? I'll tell you right now. Yes, it's quite slow. Is that something I enjoy about the movie? But yes, but that's just because I enjoy those kinds of movies. Yeah, if it makes sense for the story, I enjoy that we take the time with the story. If if it's one of those movies where it needs to be heightened, like a Transformers movie or anything Michael Bay really, then let's keep it heightened. Let's keep it going. If it needs to go faster, yeah, let's go faster. But if it's one of those things where we can take our time and slow down the pacing and make it a detective movie, then let's do it. Let's have a detective movie. I looked at this movie kind of like how you would have a Seven meets Batman. I loved the old Columbos. I loved Sherlock Holmes. I love all those things. Especially love the old movie Clue. That was one of those ones that had that heightened, moving, fast moving pace. I really like Knives Out. Actually, have it sitting right there. Um, I really like Knives Out. I like detective movies. I like movies where you have to solve and figure things out, and I like where it's slow moving so that way you can also solve it and figure it out. Now, do I agree that these people have disdain for it being so dang long? Yes, I 100% agree. I agree that um, they could shave points off and really make it a smaller film, but that's not what they wanted. Just because you didn't want that doesn't mean it's what the filmmaker wanted. The filmmaker wanted to tell you a story. Just because you felt some of that story was a little bit slow, who cares? That's not the filmmaker's vision. The filmmaker wanted this certain thing. You can't pick and choose the way you want every story is told. So, do I agree with you? I totally agree. It could use that. Do I like the movie the way it is? 100%. I've seen the movie twice, so it's not like I've seen it once and I don't know what I'm talking about. I've seen the movie twice and I remember everything about the dang movie. I can quote it almost. But, moving on. So, a lot of people think, oh, it's kind of woke. The movie, what's so funny is it's the day and age that we are in that people think that the that there's some kind of wokeness to it. Now, yes, Catwoman says a few little things. She says one notable thing in 2/3 in the movie. It's a little cringe, but it's because it's kind of almost mockery. It's one of those things where, you know, you have people, you have like kids, if they really hate you on like a video game, they'll just start shouting any obscenity. They'll start screaming obscenities at you. It doesn't mean that they think those obscenities. It just means that they're just trying to make you leave. They're trying to be, mean to you. And that's what it seemed like this. It seemed like she was saying something in order just to poke fun, make a joke, make a mean comment towards somebody, and call out just something about them. Um, that's why she said something about white privilege. Now, did we go into does she actually believe that? Is there this, that? No, no. She's just making, a comment and insulting them to the core, kind of a thing. That was her way of getting at their core. Then you have another comment where it's like, oh, about all these rich white people. Oh, everything is bad because these rich white people. And a few people have said things like that, where oh, well, it's all the bad people are white. Nobody's any other color and stuff. I okay. I look at this. This is more in tuned to the actual comic book. When this was made, when Batman was made, majority of the time they made characters that were just I mean, they didn't have a whole bunch of colors, so it was like, okay, that's white, that's this, that's that. There was a lot of white characters, so they just kept these characters basically their color. But you had amazing performances, some for people who played, it had some race swap characters. But you know what? I don't think that detracted from anything. Nobody dwelled on any of that. They were mild little comments, two comments through the entire damn movie. So I don't think it hurts the movie. I think it kind of puts it in its time where people think, why'd they do that? But I don't think it hurts the movie in any way. I think it was an easy way to have poke fun and poke those little moments, but it wasn't anything where I felt took away. The way this feels, the way this movie feels, is it feels like it's supposed to be in a different age, a different era, like the beginning of New York kind of era, where it was run by the mob. It was run by like the Italian mob and all these gangs and stuff. That's what it seems like. That's what it feels like. And that's basically where Batman originated. Batman originated from those 50s and things like that where things like that were actually real. And to have these gangs that were overrun by these Italian kind of people, that was not unheard of. Now you have different kinds of gangs. You have different. You don't have the mob. You have you have gangs, not mob stuff. So things have changed, but they kept in tune with the film noir kind of feel, and that's what people don't get at is they're going for more for the old like Dick Tracy, the old film noir kind of feel. And in that kind of world, there was a lot of bad white people. That's just it. That doesn't mean that there's not bad other people. I mean, there's plenty bad people on every side. But in that time and day and age, there was more white people in forms of power. And so that's where this really kind of takes place. It's not necessarily a 2020 kind of day and age. This is it's fantasy. It's a whole other world. So they're not really doing social commentary. They didn't even say that in Batman, I guarantee you slavery wasn't a thing or this and that. They didn't say that kind of stuff. It just said, boom. Just that one little moment. Oh, I'm gonna poke fun at white people. I'm gonna poke fun at the rich. I'm gonna poke fun at this. It's nothing to really detract from the movie in any way. Anybody who sees anything like that, it's just a little. They can't get out of their social bubble. They can't just step back and go, "Oh, maybe this is something else. Maybe they were talking about this. Maybe they weren't talking about political. Maybe they were this." And that. So, we'll move on from that. So, the next big criticism that a lot of people say is that it's the there's not it's not necessarily how can I word this properly? Like because all these people, the gripe is it's not a Batman movie. It's a detective movie with Batman in it. And a lot of people, so if you categorize all of their complaints and you look at it, you basically see that what everybody's talking about is they are confused because a long time now movies have been Marvelized. Now I say Marvel, which DC started really the big um superhero movies with the 1989 Batman that really kicked off big superhero movies that could actually make a dollar. Uh, I mean, yes, they've been tried and stuff in the past, but it's never really been a huge success. But now you have something different. But then Marvel capitalized on perfection. When they say perfection, it's not that's an amazing movie or oh my god or this. It's here is the perfect structure. You can take every Marvel movie, layer them on top of each other, and they will hit every beat perfectly. Every first 10 minutes, this happens. First 20 minutes, this happens. First this happens. They will hit an emotional beat, story beat. It's not art. It is manufactured stories. They are manufactured for the generic audience. This is what the generic audience wants. This movie is not for the generic audience. Just like the movie Joker. When Joker came out, people were raving. People in France stood up and gave it applause. Oh my god, it's great, it's amazing. I don't know why I went that accent suddenly for French. Oh, oui, oui. I don't know why I did that. But people were, oh my gosh, amazing. Bravo, do more. It's stupendous. Most people even forgot, didn't even understand the idea of the movie, which is weird because I thought it was so blatant and so obvious. But moving on, I'm not. This is not about that. This is about the Batman. So they congratulated that movie. That movie was, in other words, a carbon copy of a lot of other indie films that I've seen. I've seen that done. I've seen the idea of this was all a story made up, and at the end, it was like, oh, by the way, I made that up. I've seen that before. Joker made that whole story up. That's why they're like, she goes, what's so funny? It's like, just a joke. He made you believe that whole story. That whole story did not happen. That was not his origin. That was an origin thing to make people, the audience, care for him as a character. Care for him and care. He wasn't the monster in his story. He just was a person that just had a bad hand that was dealt and decided to do certain things that weren't right. But not necessarily a cold-blooded, ruthless killer like he normally is. And that's why you see him at the end kill the one lady, the psychologist, and dance and stuff. It's the whole story did not happen. He made it up. He was making it up for these people. And that's the joke. He was telling a joke. That's where he suddenly became the Heath Ledger kind of Joker. You want to know how I got these scars? That's what happened. That's he did that. So it's like, how come he always made up a new story for that? Because that's what he does. So no, that's what was so good about it. That's what worked. So that is what they were doing here with the Batman. It's a different story. It's a different way of telling these stories. It is they finally a detective story with Batman. Batman was the world's greatest detective. I don't know how much I have to do this. He started out not, there was no comic book that started out calling Batman. It was Detective Comics number, hold on, I always get this number wrong. It's coming. Computer's being a little weird and slow. Detective Comics, Batman's first appearance. Detective Comics number 27. That's when Batman showed up. So that's the thing. You have a comic book called Detective Comics. It was not about superheroes throwing punches, doing this, doing that. It was about being a detective. Detective Comics. What happened? We made a detective movie with Batman. Oh my gosh. People, they people need to realize this is just a detective movie. Yes, it has action. Yes, it has a twist. Yes. Does this movie kind of pull off the idea from The Dark Knight? Yes. But The Dark Knight did some great things. That movie did some great, fantastic things. And you know what? And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. If you're the greatest form of flattery is actually copying them. So that's the thing is that's what they were doing. They're just using and imitating them and using things that worked really well over there and starting something new. That's fine. Now, was it a huge upset? Did it change my way of thinking? Did I go, oh my goodness, I hate this movie? No. Did I say this was the best Batman movie ever made? Yes. Did I say that it was the best in anything? No. Wasn't best cinematography, wasn't best acting, wasn't best uh, um, story, wasn't best wasn't even best score, wasn't it? Wasn't best any of that. But it was the best. Everything came together perfectly to make a cohesive, great story. All of everything hit the right mark and made a great story. That's where it was the best. You can look and I mean, The Dark Knight. Talk about an amazing, amazing villain. Heath Ledger owned that movie. Wait, other people were in that movie? What? Nobody cared. They just waited pins and needles to see the Joker. Joker was amazing in that movie. If you say, oh, well, Joaquin Phoenix or Heath Ledger. Joaquin Phoenix played the Joker for 6 minutes in that movie. The rest of the movie, he played a fantasy Joker that he made up. That the Joker made up. Keep that in mind. So at the very end, after he kills his psychologist, that's when he actually plays the Joker. So did he play the Joker fully? No. Did he play a made up version of the Joker that the Joker was telling a story of? Yes. So technically, I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of saying that he played the Joker fully in a movie that we could actually see fully what the Joker would be like. So that doesn't count. Now, Joker 2, when he does that, we could see and say, hey, Joaquin Phoenix fully played the Joker. And then criticize if he works along with Heath Ledger's. Heath Ledger's was a villain. Heath Ledger's was fantastic. All the little nuances and everything, and the imperfections. People don't realize some of the greatest things about any stories, about anything really, is imperfections. Perfection is a little boring sometimes. Copernicus drew a perfect circle to prove how amazing he is as an artist. So perfection does prove something whenever you're trying to say, "Hey, look, I'm amazing at this. Here's something done perfect." But at the same time, nobody has a circle, a free-handed circle up in some art gallery saying, "Picasso did that." No, Da Vinci did that. No. You have like the Mona Lisa. You have this, and even the Mona Lisa. It's only about what, that big. I'm just doing that for the camera, but it's very small and stuff. It's just that got famous for some just because I won't get into the story. There's a stupid reason why that's famous. But that's the thing is so perfection. This movie is a form of perfection. The Batman perfection. Why? It's not the best in anything. Yes, but is the only one not failing at anything. Hence, perfection. Hmm. Well, you talked so much about The Dark Knight. What was so wrong about that one? What did they do wrong there? They did everything wrong with Batman. What? They did everything wrong with Batman? Yes. In The Dark Knight, they did everything wrong with Batman. If you have a movie called The Dark Knight and it stars Batman, and you are waiting on pins and needles for the whole entire time just to always see the Joker, that means your story isn't you were basing your whole story off of those few moments that we get to finally see the Joker and see Heath Ledger doing his thing, that the rest of the movie could not stand on its own merit without the Joker. You couldn't have put another villain in there and had just as good of a movie. It was all Heath Ledger. So when you look at it that way, you're like, wow, okay, and yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, the movie, if you took everything away, boom. Oh my God, it's not that great. Do not get me started on The Dark Knight Rises. Do not. I will be here for an hour. Oh my God. There's so much about that movie. I could nitpick every little scene of how terrible that movie is. um, but even even things like, I mean, things have been ripped apart. There's just no perfect Batman movie except the Batman, which keep in mind, like I said, it's not perfect. Perfection is in flaws, is in the flaws of the story. Everything there is not the best of anything, but because it has no fault, it has no complete flaws anywhere, that makes it perfection, makes it done well. So, is everybody gonna like it? No. No. Why? Not everybody likes detective movies. Not everybody likes this. Not everybody likes that. I love Columbo. I binge watch it. Watch it whenever I can. It wasn't the most popular thing in the world. It wasn't like the end of MASH. We're doing the last episode, and then you have 45 million people watching it back in the 80s? That's unheard of. The biggest event right there. You put that today's standards, I mean that would be like a billion people watching at the same damn time. Just the last episode. I mean, come on. But here, I mean, we have just this. Boom. Okay. That's what we go with. So, those are the three major things that people have been saying that I think are just things that I really wanted to touch base on. Of course, I'm gonna have a little stuff happening maybe there. Maybe we'll s- we'll see if I get copyrighted. If not, if I get copyrighted, I'll erase it. But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. Just word of warning, it's not what you think. It's a detective movie. It's not a big action movie. It's not a big this, a big that. It's more about the detective. Figure it out. So I thought I would, instead of taking a crap all over a movie, I would back a movie. I would see a movie that I like and talk good things about it. And how I made two movies about um, Dune. I can still talk more and more about how terrible Dune is. It's weird that it's getting hype for the Oscars. Oh my God, if it wins, I'm gonna make a video, an hour-long video, nitpicking the crap out of that, just tearing it apart. I'm telling you right now. Well, no, it'll be hours. I'm gonna I'm gonna watch the movie right there and be like, okay, this is what's stupid. This is why that's stupid. Heck, I might even do it for Midsommar one day. But that being said, I'm gonna move on to you guys have a good night. Thank you.